and we are here with another edition of Tech Talks. What Tech Talks is all about is answering your technology questions. So I've had a lot of questions the past couple of weeks about VLANs and firewalls and setting up rules and how all that's gonna happen and what you need to know about it, what you don't need to know about it, and more information along the lines of that. So the first thing we're going to cover today is what is a VLAN. VLANs are actually made very difficult. I don't know why they're made very difficult, but it's just how it's done and said. And for some odd reason, a lot of people try to use all, that techie talk, and it just gets confusing and people get confused. So the first thing we are actually going to jump into is my slideshow presentation. And everybody can see my screen. What is a VLAN? So let's jump into the technical term of a VLAN. The term nobody really understands, but tech people like I do. We wouldn't want to confuse everybody. Something like that. Alright, so what is a VLAN? If you don't already know, we'll hear in a second. We're going to go to play. A virtual LAN is a broadcast domain that is isolated. That can be very, very confusing to a lot of people. So I have come up with one of the easiest ways I think that I can explain what a VLAN is to help you guys out and help you guys understand what it is. And most people, I'm really lost now. Alright, so let's look at it like this. Let's look at a VLAN as a road. So you're on this road, you're driving along in your car, your truck, or whatever. This is your VLAN. As you can notice, there's no exits, there's no entrances. This is just the way it is. You're driving along on this road. Think of your car as your internet traffic or your printer traffic or any of your traffic on your network. So what we're going to do is you can see that both sides of this road, well, that wasn't supposed to happen like that, but we'll jump back into it. Both sides of these roads have guardrails on them, right? With both sides of the guardrails on there, you can't really do anything. You can't really see anything. It's guardrails. It's keeping you in one area. That's what a VLAN does. It's going to keep all of your traffic going to the correct devices. On this road, there is only one type of traffic that can go on or off this road. So earlier I said there's no exits or entrances. Well, there actually is. Think about your switch. Your switch is going to have ports on it, which is where you plug your cables into. Those are referred to ports. That's where you plug your cables into that hook to your end devices. So let's say that it hooks in to your end devices. Very easy and simple. That's what's going to be on that VLAN. So let's take, for instance, we're talking about the billing department in your company. So the only devices that are going to be plugged into these ports on this VLAN are going to be for the billing department. What does that mean for the rest of the computers that are plugged into the other ports on that switch? They don't even see the billing department exist. That's what's so great about VLANs, is it separates your network traffic out so nobody else can see that traffic. That being said, does that mean that the billing department is only going to pass billing traffic? Yes, somewhat. Okay, this is the kind of catch-22 where I was talking about there's an exit and there's an entrance. Well, you've got to be able to get off that network. And as you get off that network is how you pass your traffic. So we're going to go back to the billing department. Only the billing department devices can talk to each other on that VLAN. Well, Wes, what happens if I have the billing department, but they need to talk to somebody in the sales department? Is that possible? Yes, of course that's possible. That's where it comes in that you have your VLAN routing and your switching. So what is a switch? Easy and simple. A switch is where it switches the packet to the port it needs to go to. What's really, really nice about the VLANs is it keeps your traffic private and only those devices in that VLAN, which is a virtual LAN, virtual local area network, can talk to each other and pass traffic. If you want to look at it another way, you can think of it as kind of like a firewall. The firewall is set up so that only certain traffic can go in and out. That's the way a VLAN is. Only these devices will be able to communicate with said devices unless you need to route off of that VLAN. And you can do that. That is why you have, when you set up your VLANs, you set it up with IP addresses and DNS and all of that, which we will go into in depth in another tech talk of what DNS is. But this is where you're able to route your traffic. The thing that I want to get across of what a VLAN is a VLAN is how you can separate your network. You can actually set up a VLAN where no traffic from anything but these devices can communicate with these devices. To me, that's a little overkill, but that can be very, very, very important if you are in a high secure environment and you want to keep everything top secret and you don't want other devices on a network to see those devices. That is all it is. It's to make a network more secure and more private. What does that actually help you do, and why would you want to do a VLAN? Security. 100% security. That's why you want to do it. You want to keep, say, your guest traffic and your visitor traffic separated from your corporate traffic. When you start looking at the big picture when it comes to HIPAA compliance and it comes to all of those other government compliances, you can actually get in trouble with having your traffic be able to see each other. So if you segment it where only these devices on these ports can talk to these other devices, then you're more secure. So let's just say a hacker comes into your network and says, oh, I want to see what everything that's on the billing network. It can't see it because it's in a VLAN, because it came in on a VLAN that doesn't have access to it. So it's another security way to keep yourself secure. The next thing it does is it cuts down on your traffic. It doesn't send all the traffic from every device onto those other devices. What does that mean? Kind of confusing on that? Well, let's go back to our road real quick, okay? So you've got your road again right here. So only the traffic that is meant and needs to be in that VLAN will be passed. So let's say traffic is coming from the sales department. As soon as it says, oh wait, this traffic is not for the billing department, it drops it and doesn't send it to those ports. So you can literally cut your network traffic in half because it doesn't have to go looking around and saying, hey, where does this go? It already knows. It knows, okay, if it's on this VLAN, I'm not going to pass that traffic from the sales department to the billing department because they don't need that traffic. They don't care what's going on in the sales department. Easy and simple. I mean, that's just one of the things. Most networks are not set up the secure way, unfortunately, with VLANs. And it does take an expertise to understand how to set these up and set them up properly. You can mess up your network if you don't set this up properly. Keep that in mind. If your VLANs aren't set up, you could actually break your network. So one of the things I actually do is I go in and I diagram the network out and say, okay, all these computers are going on this VLAN, and have multiple VLANs because you need that security in place so that you can have multiple VLANs, multiple layers of security. So keep that in mind. So VLANs are set up on switches. That's one of the things that people need to understand. We will go in detail of what a switch is versus what a router is. That's way above this scope. But just think of a switch or of a device that switches traffic. So you want to switch the traffic to another device or to another port. So I usually think of each port as its own device because it's going to plug into a device. So keep that in mind. All right. Let's look at the road again. So you can see that this road is fine and dandy. It has the walls on the side. It's keeping everything private and secure. Let's say, hey, Wes, I need to get off this road and exit to another area. Is that possible with a VLAN? Yeah, that's the whole point of VLAN. Is you can set it up where it will go out a certain port to go, say, to get your email. And then it will come back into that port that you have sent it out and say, okay, this traffic is for this computer on this port in this VLAN. So it doesn't have to send out a packet that says, hey, where is this device, and go across all your switches, across all your network. So you can cut your traffic down even in half, if not even more, with VLANs. That's why I would highly suggest you use VLANs not only for the security aspect, but to segment your network traffic to keep it more secure. Let's look at the security aspect of it. Let's say, okay, you have no VLANs on your phone and your guest Wi-Fi is hooked up. Somebody with malicious intent could actually come in and record all those phone calls from the CEO, the financing department, any other departments that you think of. They can record those phone calls if VLANs aren't set up in the network. I would highly suggest, if you don't have VLANs set up, you reach out to me, reach out to another network engineer, and start mapping out the VLANs. I always make extra VLANs just to have them there in case you need to add a new department or you need to change how something is routed. All right, moving on. So it looks like each port on the switch has an exit or entrance. Yeah, it does. I mean, how else are you supposed to get traffic in or out? Like I said, I think of a port as a device because it's going to have something plugged into it. Pro tip, if you don't have something plugged into a port, make sure you turn it off. Why do I say that? I cannot tell you how many times people plug in cables to ports that aren't active or they don't have a VLAN on it, and it creates what's called a loop. And that will bring down your network quicker and faster than anything. So all of a sudden, your network stops working. Why does it stop working? Because somebody went into the switch room and decided, hey, I'm going to plug this cable in because my internet's not working. Or, God forbid, oh, this cable's unplugged. I'm just going to plug it right back into the wall. I can't tell you how many times that's happened to me. I've seen that, and it's like, whoa, I got to come out here to your client site and unplug that cable to fix your network, and that's all it was. So if a port is not in use on a switch, disable it. If you don't know how to disable it, reach out, and I'll be more than happy to teach you how to do that, just for your security. All right. So let's wrap this up. Easy and simple. I want to make this video short. VLANs, use them. If you don't know, if I wasn't able to explain them better, let me know. I'll come up with a new way to explain it. I want you guys to understand what VLANs are and how to use them, and we will actually go into a video of setting up VLANs, but that will be later on down the road, just for the fact that I kind of want you to understand what a VLAN is before we actually set them up. If you have any questions, concerns, reach out. Again, this is Wes with Tech Talks.